As you know, the president, it's wholly appropriate for the president to share whatever information he thinks is necessary to advance the security of the American people. That's what he did. As to your question on had that information been shared previously, I'm not sure about that.
When did he make that decision, though, sir?
When did he make the decision?
When did he make the decision to share the information?
He made the decision in the context of the conversation, which was wholly appropriate. So let's just, I think it's worth recapping one thing here. The president was meeting with the foreign minister about the terrorist threat. He had also raised some difficult issues, what we expected in terms of different behavior from Russia in key areas like Ukraine and as in Syria. But then the president was emphasizing, hey, we have some common interests here. We have to work together in some critical areas. And we have an area of cooperation with transnational terrorist organizations, ISIS in particular, an organization that had already taken down a Russian airliner and murdered over 200 people in October of 2015. And so this was the context of the conversation in which it was wholly appropriate to share what the threat was as a basis for common action and coordination and cooperation. So what we don't do is discuss what is and what wasn't classified. What I will all of you are very familiar with the threat from ISIS. All of you are very familiar with the territory it controls. If you were to say, hey, from where do you think a threat might come from territory that ISIS controls? You would probably be able to name a few cities, I would think. And so it was nothing that you would not know from open source reporting in terms of a source of concern. And it had all to do with operations that are already ongoing, have been made public for months.
Sorry, back to my question, sir.
Some common interests here. We have to work together in some critical areas. We have an area of cooperation. Yeah, I don't want to get into specifics of what exact information is shared with what exact allies, but information on this topic of the threat to aviation was shared with multiple allies, and as you know, there are already policies being put in place to protect against that threat. And you and many others have reported widely on this.
Something that our allies did not. Is that what you were saying?
In terms of the specifics, I have no basis for comparison on what was shared with what country. But I will tell you that it was our impression of all of us that were in the meetings, I've mentioned already, that what was shared was wholly appropriate given the purpose of that conversation and the purpose of what the president was trying to achieve through that meeting.
But there's no imminent threat.
A source of concern, and it had all to do with operations that are already ongoing, have been made public for months. Well, I mean, there are no sensitivities in terms of me or anybody who's been with the president in many of these engagements. He shares information in a way that is wholly appropriate, and I should just make maybe the statement here that the president wasn't even aware, of where this information came from. He wasn't briefed on the source and method of the information either. So I'm sorry, this got to be the last question because we do have the president of Turkey coming, I think momentarily. Thank you very much.
Contradict you. He contradicts you, General. We have more questions, General.
Will you release the transcripts, John? General?
Who's investigating the leaks?